back to another video. The wildcard is active for Game Week 8 after news that 7 matches received the go-ahead. Game Week 7 is a blank since the fixtures were cancelled, but those with 0 transfers last week like me probably got a rare rank number 1 for the game week. So before we begin, if you find this video useful, be sure to give it a like, and if you're new here, please do hit the subscribe button. This is how the squad is looking pre-wildcard. I was planning to reserve my wildcard for Game Week 9 after the international break, but with 5 starting players not playing, and that I have no intention of using De Silva, Neco Williams or Archer to plug in the holes, I don't really see a choice in not using the wildcard. And having rolled a transfer from last week, I managed to bring in Trippier earlier in the week for Robertson, as Trippier's price was about to increase, and that Robertson was going to be out till October with a knee injury. Besides, I can't roll an extra transfer when I'm using the wildcard. So if there's no last minute cancellations, here are the fixtures that are going to take place this weekend. Brighton, Palace, Chelsea, Liverpool, Manchester United and Leeds will miss out this game week. So if your team heavily features Brighton, Chelsea or Liverpool players, you might want to consider activating your wildcard too. So let's look at my wildcard draft team selection. In goal, Pope replaces Ederson as goalkeeper. Ederson was still initially in my draft team, but news that Manchester City and Arsenal game will be postponed in game week 12 has ultimately made me decide to draft in Pope, considering that Pope has excellent fixtures in Bournemouth, Fulham, Everton and Brentford coming up. And he's also currently the top keeper for FPL points so far. In defense, I've decided to go with a back three consisting of Trippier, Cancelo and Digne. As mentioned earlier, Pope and Trippier had excellent fixtures, and with Trippier on set pieces, there's a real good chance for attacking returns as well. Digne is a differential pick that is a huge gamble, I have to admit. His form hasn't been great, but Villa has improved in the last 2 games against Arsenal and Man City. And with Villa entering an easier run, he could be worth the gamble. With Matty Cash still out, Villa's threat will most probably be coming from the left flank, and with Digne providing crosses from the left flank and also taking set pieces, I'm hoping for some attacking returns. Do note that Southampton has also conceded 10 goals in 6 matches. I did look at Emerson of West Ham at 4 million is definitely a bargain, but I'm not sure how his minutes will look like now that Cresswell is back in the squad for the Europa League game. And lastly, Cancelo remains in my team from previous games weeks and completes the defense. In midfield, I've decided against De Bruyne and I've gone with Bowen, Anthony Gordon, Martinelli and Kulusevski. I have to admit that the midfield is a massive gamble, but calculated gambles are what's going to help to move up the ranks. Bowen had an incredible season last term, but hasn't registered any attacking returns so far this season. But there's no doubt that West Ham's poor form could be due to the tough fixtures. They have played Man City, Brighton, Spurs and Chelsea in the first 6 games. But with Everton next, followed by Wolves, Fulham and Southampton, it's time for him to pick up some form. Anthony Gordon also comes in. Surprisingly for midfielders, Anthony Gordon is actually ranked 2nd for XG behind Zaha and 4th on expected goal involvement. And there's no doubt he's Everton's talisman, and facing West Ham at home, he could exploit their tiredness after their midweek game. Martinelli remains in the team. He has been a great value option so far this season and has 3 goals and assists already, and I don't think I'll be selling him anytime soon. He has a registered XG of 2.7 and is actually the highest among his teammates, just behind Gabriel Jesus. And finally, Kulusevski is another gamble I'm taking. With Spurs have a good fixture in Game Week 8 as they take on struggling Leicester City. Leicester has already conceded 16 goals in just 6 games. It's definitely a risk that he doesn't start, but Spurs has played poorly in midweek and he might come in for Richarlison or Son, who have been poor so far this season. Kulusevski can definitely help Spurs on the break against Leicester, but I may consider switching him to Zaha or Maddison for next week. It's Haaland, Kane and Mitrovic. I was initially planning to keep Jesus, but decided to go for Kane in the end, which led to me going for Gordon in order to raise more funds. These three are the top 3 for expected goals and are also the top 3 for expected goal involvements and assists, so I think this is the perfect front 3. Tony and Isaac are worthy considerations, but with a midfield gamble, I think I would rather stick to these 3 so I can save my transfers from midfield. And finally on the bench is Danny Ward, Andreas, Neco Williams and Reece James, which completes my team selection. At the moment, I'm leaning to a Kane captaincy and Haaland as vice-captain, but it will depend on how many minutes Haaland plays against Dortmund on Wednesday. But it's very likely I'll go for Kane against a weak Leicester defense. So that will give me a team value of 99.6 million and with 1.5 million in the bank. But just note that this is not the final draft, although it's likely to be the one for me. I'm still leaving it late to do the transfers just in case of any last minute cancellations. So let me know in the comments below what you think of my draft selection and who is in your draft if you've activated your wildcard this week. And if you enjoyed the content so far, please don't forget to click on the subscribe button and support the channel. Thank you, and I'll see you on the next video.